Hi, everybody.
Good day.
Welcome to
Celebrate.
Welcome to the new normal, exploring infinite possibilities. Now we can celebrate.
Oh, okay. And the new normal has already changed.
Yeah.
So the new norm is no longer new normal. Now we have to create another new one.
And that's why we were talking about the title of the show was Time to Celebrate. And so we've got today is Cinco de Mayo, and then we've got Mother's Day. And kind of preparing for the show, you and I were talking about, I said to you, so who started this Mother's Day stuff? And you're like, I don't know. And so what did you do? You went home and researched it. I'm excited to hear about it a little bit.
And I was up. Excuse me.
Are you good?
Oh, yeah. I was up most of the night because I'd find out a little bit, and then I wanted to find out a little more. And Mother's Day has been celebrated even by the Aboriginal people.
Isn't that amazing?
Around the world. It has been the first documentation of an organized celebration of Mother's Day was AD 5 something.
See, after death.
27.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Far.
That's really cool. Because I thought it was just kind of that frivolous, economic base that we got going on
Well, that
now.
started here in America.
We did. And who started that, do you think?
Well, there was one lady in some state on the East Coast, and she joined forces with the owners of a major clothing chain.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it as an investment to make more money. And they started the whole thing of the more expensive your gift, the more you're showing how much you love them.
Okay, and so, Madison Avenue has been marketing to us consumers with that psychological bias for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of us, are aware of that. But then what we're saying, though, is don't let that turn you off. Because what the next question was, I asked you about Mother's Day, and then I said, what about you? How was Mother's Day in your household? And you want to share what that was for you?
Well, my best Mother's Day was when I was on vacation, alone.
I love that. And then in our household, there was just my mom and I after my sister passed away. So it's like, I loved buying her the perfume and the robe and that stuff. It was like, and she received it. So it was just kind of cool. It worked for me. But now, I'm just saying I'm not really a mother. I have stepchildren, so I'm a stepmom for sure. And we have our own special way of getting together. In fact, we're going up to the kids this Sunday. Yeah, to hang out. But I'm with you on I guess what we're kind of getting to everybody listening is if it was good for you, good. If it wasn't, okay.
Okay. You see, my grandmother on my father's side, they said, as Mongols, they celebrated Mother's Day, but it was a gift to the neighbors, a gift to the others. They were a nomad tribe.
Got you.
And they would celebrate all together. If you didn't have any family, you'd be invited to their celebration. And so it was the women were celebrated, because without the women, the nomads could not survive.
True story, because the men would go out searching for days and days. The women would hold down the grounding.
Hold down the fort.
They would hold down the fort. And so things have evolved a lot. And nowadays there's a lot more conveniences. But what we're faced with this new earth making that is happening for all of us right now is taking some traditions that have been with us since we've been little and redoing them if you choose to join in the celebration. So no resistance.
Yes.
You don't have to resist it. Oh, I don't like that. You just make up a new one. Mother's Day is about nurturing. What else is Mother's Day?
And to celebrate the fact that we appreciate. It's not how much money you spend on the gift. Like my grandmother, her thing was just be there.
Oh, the gift of presents.
Just be here.
Your present. And then unwrap the gifts of you all being present with each other.
Yes.
The laughter and the joy. I have such great memories of each Mother's Day with my kids.
Well, you all of you listeners, watchers, please allow yourself the joy of honoring what you believe, not what you were told to believe. And if you want to give flowers, do it. If you want to give a diamond, do it.
Yes.
But don't go so broke that you can't work.
And then also, you and I talked about that word obligation the other day.
Oh,
An obligation is just really heavy. But if the obligation comes from the heart and you're wanting to do something to support and help someone, that word that is heavy, energetically, you transform it.
now that clarifies the statement, because it's
Yeah.
no longer obligation of you have to do this for me or I have to do that
Right.
for them. Obligation is the universal consciousness
Yes.
needs people to give and receive, and so I take that obligation on. So it's a whole different flavor.
It's a whole different flavor. Yes. And then that's that way that we can all elevate thinking that the world is just about us. You know, and then you shift the dynamic of how you are presenting yourself to extend your sharing out to the rest of the world, your neighbors and their neighbors.
Yes, yes.
Because we do all impact each other 100%. And when we do it consciously, that's what we're talking about. You know, to allow for that shift, to allow for those discussions of disagreement and those discussions of agreement and those discussions of, I don't know where you're at. Because those are all good. Because if you don't have the discussion of the experiences, you don't have any reflection. All you do is kind of like talking to yourself, running around in circles.
And often when you talk to yourself, you are creating limitations for yourself.
Because you are the divinely inspired being.
Yes.
This always sounds so egotistical, but you are the light. You are the God force walking.
Let
in
your
action.
little light shine.
I'm gonna let it shine. We say that in some form every single time on the show, and probably several times, because it's really true. And so it feels good to speak the truth
And
about
there again,
what's up.
we think of let your little light shine as a black gospel, when actually that concept of let your light shine is found in the ancient people.
Yeah.
They say, bring the universal light to your heart and your light grows bigger.
Yeah.
And you find that in the Australian Aboriginal people.
You do.
Yeah, they talk about it.
So there's this idea of responsibility. Use your ability to respond to the things that are happening outside of you.
Yep.
Like we've got Cinco de Mayo happening as well today. And I was we just had a little chat with Chris about that, talking about,
Oh, yes.
you know, what that really is and isn't. You know, and so go and look up those things. Have a little history lesson. You know,
Don't do it the way I did last night and sit up all
and you're
night.
up all night, you were stimulated. And so what, you know, you did, it's like interesting. We talked about Mother's Day, and it looks like you got some information on all the holidays,
Oh, yeah.
because it's a great time to reassess belief systems. It's a great time to reassess where you're at. It's a great time to reassess who the people you want to spend time with and who you don't.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
great time
Good
to reassess what you do, what you don't do. Easter, for instance. I don't ever go to church. I'm not Christian. So I went to Easter, and our family pretty much was you get a new outfit, and I would go for the new outfit for sure. Shoes, didn't do a hat, got the hairs done. That was Easter in our family. That was the big thing, and then probably Easter brunch or something.
And interesting, when I was researching Easter, you don't find, except in some of the European pre-Christian movements, they celebrated a day when there was rebirth. And so then the Catholics took rebirth as resurrection.
Okay, so we
So
had
isn't that an interesting?
rebirth to resurrection, and then all the things that are tied from dying and being
Yeah.
resurrected. Well, I could say though, with each of the holidays coming up, we are all need to allow ourselves to resurrect the joy
The joy of
about
giving
celebrating.
and receiving. And you've all heard me say, if you can't receive, you're taking away the right for other people to learn how to give.
And vice versa, isn't
And
that
vice
true?
versa.
And sometimes if you notice how much you accept or how much you don't accept, you can see where you need to fill up that side of you in either the allowing, the receiving, or the giving and sharing, you know?
You know, I received a gift in Tokyo that I was never going to use. I was never going to take it home. So I went out, and suddenly I knew that person can use it, and so I just gave it away.
See, there's the great pass forward, which is that next holiday, Christmas. What have we developed with the Christmas thing, which is the pass forward gift? Or the,
Oh, yes.
The regifting. The regifting. I love a regift. That's a good thing.
Oh yeah, regifting is wonderful.
It is. We regift all year round, though, actually. Do you know
And
what I mean?
that's what I do. Like with my grandkid, my granddaughter said about her new baby. She said, "Are you going to treat him the way you treated me and everybody else, and just forget about our birthday and just give us things at different times?" I said, "Yeah,
Probably.
that's exactly what I'm going to do. I give them. It has nothing to do with their birthday or Christmas. It has to do with, I feel like giving something to Mandy, to Keith, to whoever, and it's just as good as if it was Christmas."
Well, George and I had a discussion about the Christmas gift giving when the kids got a lot older. Before, we used to give them money to buy presents for their mom, you know, and that kind of thing. And then he started giving them allowance, and then they had their own money to buy a gift and choose that. And now our whole family has shifted to just a lot more fun. We get together and eat and snack. You know, and George likes to give the little money gifts, so all the kids get like money in a card. And then we kind of do the regifting. We repurpose. All of our gifts are generally used. We find good stuff, though. All of you that are, you know, get gifts from us.
Yes.
We are great gift givers. Know that it probably is not new, though, because that's just our bottom line thing. So we feel really good about that kind of way. And see, again, redo what you've been taught, so you can just keep doing that.
And that's part of what we're doing with the end result of this C word.
Yeah, the C word. I see how that just left us. That thing.
That thing.
Yeah, that thing.
We're building a new world. The idea we have to build it according to the way it used to be, it's not going to work. So we have to learn to give and receive. We have to learn to barter, trade. We have to learn that the only way you can get meat is by going to the grocery store. That's invalid now. You have to find out where meat really comes from and learn how to.
If you don't know.
Yeah. In America, here in our country, there was a study at a high school graduation in Florida. Yeah. And one of the questions was, when you need meat, where does it come from? And the answer was typically the supermarket.
And that's true when you're, a little kid going to buy
But
it.
they had no idea that it comes from a cow.
I mean, that was really fun going back to visit my sister-in-law on her farm and picking
Oh,
up the
yes.
eggs. And how she said her little chickens, though, were like territorial. So they would like lay their, she sent us home with some eggs, but she said, well, they'll lay one, and then they're competitive. So they don't want the other ones to know. So they'll go lay their eggs other places. I'm like, really? She goes, yeah, it's a protection thing. I'm like, oh, okay. It's so fascinating. I was never raised on a farm, so I find all of that so cool. I can't wait till she gets her little pigs. Although I love bacon, though.
Uh-oh. So much for her little pigs. She'll have to hide them every time you go.
I know. Good thing she's a few hours away. Oh wait, so Father's Day is the next major holiday coming up, and Father's Day is interesting too. Like they get us programmed to buy. What do you buy Father's Day? Tools.
Yes.
Mother's Day is like a blender.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, George, don't you ever buy me a Vitamix or a blender. Buy me a diamond. You know, give me something kind of I can use. I better not buy him any little tool for Father's Day either. Just talking about staying with the standard cultural indoctrination.
Yes, yes, yes.
We're not trying to transform it. But because George and I are not mothers and fathers, we don't really honor that with each other. I don't give him a Father's Day card, and he doesn't give me a Mother's Day card. It doesn't make any sense. We didn't birth children together. But we make that a time for us to get together.
And you see, I carried a different direction. It isn't just to honor our mother or the mother of our children. It is to honor anything that creates new life. To honor the mother of a tree, a plant. Well, anyway, I'm not going to go there.
No.
I just did.
You just did go there. But you're good, though. Because then that gift giving, you add that layer of consciousness to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, well, yeah, I'm indoctrinated. 64 years I've grown up with, 64 years of Mother's Day, Father's Day, all the holidays. Boom. Okay, so what? So, it's like you still be thoughtful about what you share with someone. Thoughtful about making sure you have enough time when you go over to hang out with them, to listen to them.
And you see, in my upbringing, I was always very apprehensive, even as a kid, when everyone was getting ready to celebrate a holiday, because I knew it was fight time.
Did that happen a lot because there was like alcohol and that kind of stuff?
A lot.
Yeah, okay.
Plus.
Okay. So there weren't good memories and then just
None.
old memories got... And there's probably a lot of people out there, imagine a family going into debt to make Christmas good. My mom was one of those. She would borrow, she'd borrow money from H&R Block every year. She was a single mom doing her thing. And she would do that to make sure we had the tree and the presents and all that stuff every year. She would do that. Mm-hmm. Bless her heart, But then sometimes...
Well, in mine, it was, let's get drunk and blow the way. We had Christmases where my father and his friends would do target practice without opening the window and shoot right through the glass.
Hatfields and McCoys. Huh?
And his feeling was, well, it gives employment to some people to come and replace the windows.
Well, that's a universally uplifting concept. Say your dad, Reno.
Reno.
Reno wasn't...
Finish.
Reno. So, hey, it is what it is. So we are implying that it is time now to take the genie out of the bottle, huh?
Oh, yes.
Where we had that little thing, and it was great. Take the genie out of the bottle. I mean, we could post that. I actually posted it on our Facebook page. I thought that was pretty cool. We don't want to read it.
Keep talking.
Okay. Yeah, but keep talking. I was reading it and looking at it too. But so this is like a great time for us to really just, take the lid off and recognize you are in a prime position to create the world that you want to create by your actions now.
And what I loved about that piece is it said, take the lid off your bottle and let your genie out.
It's spiritual genie.
And to me, that is major. You're letting out your magic. You're letting out your power, your strength, so that you can do anything. You can accomplish anything.
Like Christine Aguilera said, you're the genie in the bottle. Remember Christine Aguilera?
I'm not following.
Oh, she's a singer. I always have a little tagline for songs.
Okay.
They always come up. So anyhow, she had the genie in the bottle. What else was there? I like this part about releasing the grief from the people that we may leave behind. They used the word synthetic reality, and I like that, synthetic reality. That's like a great world. A lot of us are used to talking about living in 3D, then moving to 4D, and then ascending to 5D, and we got all that blah, 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 blah. It is whatever you want to call that. It will happen. It's happening now. And so as long as we are present with ourselves, and I mean really present with ourselves, loving the good, bad, and the ugly, it's time to play.
And it isn't about words. If you look at all of the Aboriginal people around the world, they don't talk a lot. They feel, they sense, they share energy. And that's why you hear me saying often, learn to recognize and appreciate your five senses.
And you'll catch the synchronicities that you are planting seeds to be, so you can see them. The opportunities that come.
I just did a 3-day workshop online in Japan, and it covered Tokyo and many other cities on other islands. And it was exciting for people to recognize just how much they were unaware that their five senses were giving them messages.
Oh, all the time.
Because there was one woman, and she kept saying, I've had this pain in the back of my neck. It comes here frequently, and then it goes away quickly. And so I said, that's what I personally call the 8th chakra. It's the center for telepathy. And it was just energy trying to give her a message.
And she just thought she was being a pain in the neck. Or she had a pain in the neck.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, the temple is...
Did you put sugar in there?
I think I did put a couple sugars in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you stir it around.
In the
sugar-
water.
Yeah, in the water. I think so. Yes. I remember when that first started to happen in terms of hearing the voice, or a voice.
Yes.
The voice of spirit, however you want to say that. And the difference between the loud ego voice that would, like keep me stuck and squash me. And so learning to discern the energy of those two voices has brought me to an internal state of peace, so that I don't ignore the voice that I really love to pay attention to. And then sometimes I just kind of override the other voice that's pretty loud.
And with your five senses, the voice won't be audible. It will be an itch, a temperature change, a feeling of, well, sometimes I even call it an energy goose.
Energy goose, okay. So like you feel something hopped on or just a little...
Or in.
Uh-huh. We were walking down the mall the other day, and I swear, I don't need to swear. When I was going to share this with you, I halfway getting ready to go out, I felt a whoomp, and I immediately thought, interesting, piggybacking, are you? Well, there's enough light here, you're good. That was kind of it. And you can piggyback till we go outside, but then you got to go. Because it felt kind of heavy. It was like a little playful, but I'm like, no, that's not mine, you're good. Yeah. So is that happening to... that's got to be happening to a lot of our viewers out there.
And a point I like to make is, if you hear knocking on your door and there's no one there, it's spirit saying hello. I'm just here to say hello to you. Or you hear scratching on the wall. Often it's just a spiritual phenomenon. Most people stop and think, well, it might be the building is settling. It might be, I made it up. It doesn't matter. Join my club. It's called the Club of IDM. Or sometimes it's IDFM.
It don't matter to me. What you're searching for. You're born to be free. And sometimes we just forget that we were born to be free. That was the idea when we came in.
Yes.
And then we went through a period of density, an area of density where the contrast was pretty strong. The contrast is pretty strong. But as we evolved a little more on the inside, that contrast became less and less. And now a lot of us know that we are the controllers of that shift in that contrast, which is called consciousness. We're the ones.
Each individual has their own level and levels of consciousness.
Right. And it's not like an intellectual thing, but it is like... maybe we could say there's levels of consciousness with each of the senses. Could we say that?
Yes.
Okay. So then we're not talking
Absolutely.
about, we're talking about a unified consciousness. So that's different. That's including the people for sure. But then you're just talking about your environmental consciousness, all of the areas that feed into the temple and around the temple and anchor the temple, that talk to the temple.
And that's why it's so important that all of you recognize if you go into a store and you feel suddenly hot, just leave. It's your body telling you, this isn't for you.
Yeah, oftentimes in the cement buildings, like I'm good for a little
Exactly.
while. Like, ooh, I discovered that I'm just not as grounded in those buildings, so I have to kind of leave. It gets to be a little odd, uncomfortable to hang out for too much. Okay, well, there we go. Just-
A 9 of diamonds.
Ooh,
Now that's valuable,
yeah,
particularly for my day today.
yeah,
Because I need all of the energy that I can get.
absolutely. I feel you. I think all of us are needing that. So know that you can send a little extra grace
Yes.
to people. Our webmaster today, Kai, is not feeling very well, you know? And so I sent her, we were going to do some work, and I sent her a little, I was going to, like, sending you, and then I paused for a minute, like, well, what am I going to send her? You know?
Energy.
Yeah, so I thought, well, I'm sending you a hot summer's day, tropical day, like on the island, because she was born in Hawaii. Something like that. And then I sent her a picture. I'm like, so this is just Cabo, will it do? She sent back a little heart, you know. She got it. It was just a little funny. Just wanted to connect. So sometimes it takes a second to connect with people.
And I have a friend in a suburb of Tokyo, and it's okay to mention her name because she said, you know, anything that can send some energy would be appreciated. Her name is Momoko.
Oh, I
And-
like Momoko. So sweet.
Isn't she? And so she said that since she's learned that everything is energy, her life has changed dramatically.
Because then you don't take it so personally.
That's right.
Because, you know, you may have energy that matches what's coming towards you, and it feels pretty intense. But yeah, when you can say the too shall pass, it's not a permanent fixture.
Nothing is permanent, and that's why it's vital. Recreate your world, not according to what you've known, but according to what you're going to discover.
According to what you're going to discover. And that's a whole different viewpoint.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so different that it's a little bit foreign.
Oh, a little bit is a lot.
Like, because we're saying, so jump off the cliff and know that you're going to free float. Unless
And
you
you
don't.
will. Into new discoveries.
Into new discoveries. Max, so Max is taking the wording, because those three also did. So you want to pick one of those two, though? Because those all three dropped on the, they did. See, I love the synchronicity. It's like not a big deal, but. So that one says, when we reclaim our truth, we create a new storyline.
And remember,
Thanks, Max.
you can create your own story, but don't create a story that's going to, or I hope, that's not going to hurt other people. So consider the fact that what is going to work for you might be disruptive to somebody else.
Right, and don't make that. Do your best not to allow that to immobilize you. Like
Perfect.
You think about it so much, you don't make a move. I mean, if that's your choice, then that would be what happens. But it's like devise some ways to be an ally with yourself.
I just had a friend in New York email me and say, I've got to make a major decision, and I don't want to make a mistake. And I can't figure out which is the best. And so I wrote back, you've already made the mistake, and that was by not making a choice. Make the choice. If you don't like the end result, make a new one. But if you don't make the choice, any choice, it's going to come back and bite you.
Yeah.
So when you've got too many ideas, like when I was going to move from the island of Hawaii,
Right.
I just flipped a coin.
Flipped a coin. And some of our viewers know about using a pendulum.
Oh,
You
yes.
could write a couple choices down and Use the pendulum.
Yep.
Yeah, you could do a piece of paper, write the
Absolutely.
options. And then honor that you have a different decision-making process.
Exactly.
You
and
know?
all of those ideas are traced back to different holidays.
I know. So we have like a treasure trove of things to pick from.
Absolutely.
That we want to sparkle up a little bit.
Yes, yes, yes.
That we want to take along on the journey. And then we can just drop the rest of things from our knapsack. In fact, you could just drop the whole knapsack and just have a new little basket of like, oh, I like, let's talk about holidays. I like that holiday. I like that one. I'm gonna just leave that one out.
Because we have been taught to make life too complicated.
Yeah,
It's
simplify.
not about why things happen.
Yeah.
It's not about who deserves to receive, like in the gifts.
Mm-hmm.
It's, this is what's happening. Now what are you going to do with it?
Well, you know, I looked down at Labor Day. I just caught Labor Day. Memorial Day's coming up, Labor Day and Columbus Day and Independence Day. Those are all real interesting days. And like, you know, Columbus. We should do a little bit of research on Columbus. I think he was from another planet. I think an alien came down and showed Columbus what was up. Because everybody thought the world was flat at the time. And then, you know, he had the intelligence at the time back then to know that it was round. Really? Aliens came and told him. And he listened.
And also, yes.
Yeah, I know there's probably more to that particular story. I love your laugh because it's like I know there's a more underneath that one. Okay, we'll leave that one alone.
And
then
all of you remember, you don't have to know all of the details. You have to know this is what is, and I choose whether to focus on it or not. Like for the Labor Day, until I was about 70, I thought that meant having babies.
ooh, I love that.
I always no, I really didn't. I said to my family years and years ago, I say, who's having all these babies that we're having Labor Day, Labor Day, Labor Day? I mean, my goodness.
Close. Never mind. Yeah. I love that one. Oh, that's good.
So we're all different.
We're all
Thank God.
different. Really, thank goodness. And I was just thinking about, you know, the Columbus Day, Independence Day, Labor Day. All of these have been monetized till the end. I am so tired of that monetization from, you know, Madison Avenue and everybody picking up on it, you know? Like, oh my goodness, let's just stop that. So I've stopped
And you know,
that.
if you want to stop all of that BS, organize your neighborhood, organize your friends, and say, let's now all not shop in certain stores because it's not about our product. We can get the product anywhere or make it ourselves. It is that we have to not totally support the 2% that are manipulating and controlling us. But
And-
organize it, plan
Yeah,
it,
no,
make it.
it's a true story, and this is totally a grassroots movement, and it always needs to happen. I've been around in a couple other lifetimes, and you have too, for sure. All of us have. All of us have.
I don't believe in reincarnation.
And so this time around, it really is about putting your footprint into one that you would like to have duplicated. You know,
Okay.
following the footsteps, following your own footsteps. You know, make your own path. You know, and then share that with others.
And I like that because when I give counseling on past life interaction, I'm always saying to people, recognize that your current experiences trace to the fact that you didn't deal adequately with similar things in the past. But now gather what you have learned, and it'll be easier and easier to reach your fulfillment.
See, I love how you reframe that in a way that gives them a solid baseline of confidence.
Confidence,
You know,
security.
the words that you say to them are the words that you want them to receive. And so you're not striking them down. You're just saying, reconsider your wisdom.
Oh, yes,
Take
yes,
some of
yes.
your wisdom with you.
Yep.
Interesting note about the cards and how we all come together and how we're on the same page. So just adding the numbers. So we had 5 and 9, which is a 14, and that's a 5. And then the other card, when we reclaim our truth, we create a new storyline. That's a 4. So a 4 and 5, we get a 9 again. We get a 9. So I say that I always pick so I say 9 of spades, a 9 of hearts, 9 of diamonds double, which is humanitarian, which is about moving up to a higher level, which is about what you said, honor your wisdom, take it with you.
And that's what our world is right now, creating a world of inner peace for every living thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll still have, if you want a home, you can have it. If you want an automobile, you can have it. But then share what you don't need.
And you can have it minus the struggle.
No struggle.
You know, because it's this idea of giving and sharing. You have no idea who is out there in the world that needs to share whatever it is they have. And we have no idea who is out there in the world that needs to receive whatever it is that you have.
And that's why I say don't waste your time with a lot of current local news alone. Be aware of what's happening in Myanmar. Be aware of what's happening in India. Be aware and sensitive.
Because you can see in a different form how those same things are happening all over our
All over the
globe.
world.
Or else this little 2% of the narrative that's ruling the planet would not be playing out as it is.
Yes.
So, you know, being aware, but know that it's not your job to place everybody's burden on and in your knapsack and walk the earth that way. It's about releasing.
So have a wonderful time celebrating Mother's Day, Father's Day. The one that I don't encourage you to celebrate is Halloween. But if you want to celebrate Halloween, do it. But I don't support it. And that's okay.
Yeah, it is. Halloween, Hallows Eve. Halloween, though, I'm kind of Halloween each day, though, with like the color thing. Isn't that funny?
Love that.
Isn't that
Yeah.
funny how the color can be synonymous with the, like orange? Like orange is just orange. It's a second chakra color, is what I say. But you know, I like a pumpkin pie. You can have a pumpkin pie on Halloween.
I don't like pumpkin pie.
You don't like pumpkin
I
pie?
love it.
Oh, what about pumpkin pie with the sour cream? Have you ever done that before?
I don't like it.
Okay.
But I love it with whipped cream,
Mm-hmm.
goat whipped cream.
Oh, real? Okay.
Oh, yeah. And, oh yeah, I love pumpkin. But I like the pumpkin the way it's done by the old timers.
Well, your mom was a cook. Hazel was a cook.
Oh, yeah.
A caterer. So you like have not a distorted view, but you have an elevated view of good fine dining. You know,
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. So
My grandmother, she said, well, if we need something for dinner and it's not in the yard, I guess we go hungry.
Oh, and that was a lot of people that knew where their sustenance came from. So they
Yeah.
had like community growing gardens, which I see a lot more of those around now.
And it's going to have to happen more and more. Did you know that in Japan there are many roof gardens at apartment buildings, and a lot of people do their gardening and do their fresh fruits and vegetables on the roofs of their their houses.
And they make. I mean, you see some shows and they do a little panoramic across the rooftops in other countries, and you see people using that space.
Use the space.
Using that space.
If you've taken away the earth, then make your roof a new earth.
I mean, back to Mother's Day, if you don't have a mom that is alive now, my mom crossed over many years ago, and I remember my stepson saying to me, but Mimi, you'll always be a mom. You'll always be a daughter. I'm like, oh, you're right, Tyson. Doesn't matter if she's not here. You'll always be a daughter.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought, well, that was really profound. Thank you. It's kind of cool.
It don't matter. It matters what you're going to do with it. You're always going to be who you are, who you were, but you're in control instead of being controlled.
And I look at the whole Mother's Day thing from a different perspective, being a stepmom, choosing not to have children in this lifetime, in this incarnation. And I have a lot of girlfriends that are also more universal moms. You know, so I sent a couple of them to, you know, cards, Mother's Day cards, special person, and made a little special note in there.
Oh, that's a big one.
That felt fun.
Special mother. And that's the old way of you honor all mothers.
And my daughter, my stepdaughter Chanel, she calls me bonus mom.
I
love that.
That's cute.
She gave me bonus mom. So it's like she's got mom, she's got bonus mom, and then she's a mom, and then she moms her kids' moms. I mean like they're invited into the family fold.
Sure.
That's the energy that I love. I'm excited to go visit because there'll be like other people there, and I don't know, it's just fun.
That's what you're creating now. A universal family. That all things on this planet are members of your family. And treat them with respect. And then the big boys are not going to be able to send your children off to shoot other people.
Right, because you start, what you have, yeah. I mean, the go along is intense in our culture still. The go along. Do this because you're told. I call it the go along, You can go along, but you don't have to give up. You don't have to give up who you really are.
Oh, yes.
And we were talking about just that little visible symbol of like the wearing the mask. And you said something interesting to me coming in. Like, what, Renata, why I wear this mask sometimes? I'm like, no, why? I can say why you said
Go ahead.
it. Okay. So you said, like, what? I can just be in people's face so much. It's a reminder for me to muzzle down, to stop trying to attack people. Because I can just go there and say, like, why are you blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, okay. And that really is so important to like own. Don't try to make this be a nice thing. It's not a nice thing. There's nothing nice about what's going on.
And so the thing is, though, is that I can be a really ugly person. And so the mask, when I wear it, it reminds me to button up.
Mm-hmm. And, I haven't had much confrontation at all with people except for the last day I was in one of the stores and a customer looked at me and said, I missed the look. George caught it. And then I heard her say something about, well, it's your life. I'm like, yeah, right. So it's just an interesting thing that we have to really honor the good, bad, and the ugly. And like I was just saying so vehemently, this is not a nice story. So my job is to not dishonor anything that's happened inside of my head and heart, to honor where I'm coming from. And keep moving and keep creating and not add too much juice to the resistance.
Exactly.
Not add any juice to the resistance.
And so that's why with what I had said to you, I know I can be mouthy. I've had a lot of challenge with that all my life. And so the mask is reminding me, allow everyone to have their opinion.
Right, allow
because I could get right in their faces.
And then even, there's that, there's a little divisiveness going on Facebook. It's like, so, this mask or not mask thing. I'm not playing that game at all. Vaccine, not vaccine. It's not my business. I don't need to know. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, let's make this a non-issue as soon as we're able to make it a non-friggin' issue. That's where I'm wanting to float with this whole thing. And interesting enough, we got a good laughter out talking about it because I went to turn your little dickie around and then I grabbed his neck and he's like, what? He started cracking up. We were laughing for a good 30 seconds. I almost peed my pants again. You were so silly. Oh, so what you can't have this kind of laughter if you don't set up a baseline of community and friends, like your tribe. Go gather your tribe together.
Yes.
Go have some fun. Go do some events. Go, be in each other's face. Give each other a hug. Go be real. Go be human. Because that's what we do. Be human. Be a human being. That's what's up. And if you decide to, float in a different direction, well, then float in a different direction. You're fine.
And people have recently said to me, or I've heard people say to each other, we have to wear our mask because if we don't, we might die. But people have to be reminded, it's guaranteed someday you're going to die.
Guaranteed.
And how is not the issue. Because there are people who just have an intent on a soul level to be around for a long, long time. And so then all of the great pandemics that have been, there are always survivors.
Always.
And always people that, there were plane crashes where one person walked away and all the rest were killed. They needed the experience of a sudden, abrupt death.
And
it cannot be defined.
Yeah, and I know some people that have had that happen. A whole family died. You know,
Yeah.
they ended up here by themselves.
Yeah.
It's all really cool. You know, when I just mind my business and mine the gold in there, then I come out ahead. And when I start minding other people's business, well, I can't have their gold. So, you know, it doesn't do me any good to be
We
digging in their
cannot
mind.
fix anyone.
No,
we can
not
give them love, encouragement to fix themselves.
And love and encouragement, who says that that's not like a gold mine? Who says that's not like a big
Yeah,
fluffer
yeah,
upper?
yeah,
Who
yeah.
says that that's not pretty great?
But like, if you want my opinion, you have to ask for it. But then if you ask for my opinion, I don't care if you like it or not. I'll tell you what I feel.
You and George sit on the same side of the boat on that one.
Yes.
And I'm on the other side balancing us, because that's a real thing. It's like, no one asked you. So you get what you get. No one asked what your opinion was. But when someone asks, don't be trying to, like, you know, make it nice. It's, you ask.
You ask, so you better get ready.
But then you don't have to totally embrace it either just because you ask.
Exactly.
I mean, like this sense of personal freedom, not to be ruthless, you know, not to be agitating, and not to be death-defying. You know, that's called having force and power over others. And that lacks a certain level of integrity, doing that because you know you can, and you have that control for a while. You know, that's solid, that's been in base, but that's not real love, and that's not where our planet's evolving to. Enough people are awake to know that, honestly, where we're at now, we're deciding a new baseline.
Yes.
We're creating a new way of living
Yes.
with each breath.
Which, by the way, is an old way of living.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just giving it a new flavor.
And you totally can talk about an old way of living coming to a new way of living because you're almost 81. You know, and then plus
about,
add other
what, a day and a half?
lifetimes. Yeah, coming up.
Yeah.
I know, it's kind of exciting. Of course, unless it's not.
Exactly.
We did something that was kind of exciting last month, and at the end of the month, and we're going to do it again, I understand, this month, maybe near the end, which is we had our open world family open mic night.
Oh, yes.
It was a long title, but
And it has to be shortened.
we'll squish it some.
But, and more come out to the celebration. It's a celebration.
It's a celebration, and we're going to do it at the same restaurant this month, and we'll just post it, and we'll probably talk about it at the next show, whichever.
And we had people that were at the restaurant. They had no idea what we were doing, but they could hear us. They could see that we were all having a good time, and that there was one couple there that were just kids. Adults, but kids
Yeah.
to me. And so people started to get interactive. There was one couple with a baby.
I know that you went out.
They were ignoring us, but the baby wasn't.
She was cute.
Yeah, and she was only a year old, and she was going, hi, hi.
So this idea, thinking that you have to do a big audience-filled event, we learned that wasn't really true. You can
No.
invite a couple people, and those that showed up were the deal, because we got a chance to interact one-on-one personally,
Yes.
and then to to spread that light out in the restaurant. And those of you that are sensitive to energy, you could feel and see the energy shift, even though the people presence, you know, was limited. But the job was done.
You know, the owner of the restaurant, a woman, she was there and she said, I don't know if everybody feels it, but I'm like a different woman.
Things rub off on you, just like when you walk into a crowd of hate. You can't, I mean, me personally, I can't wait to get out of where there's that dissension and con. You can just feel it's heavy, heavy. And then when you walk into an area that feels really light and loving, that's not limited by the amount of people. Light begets more light.
And then it spreads.
It does. You take that
And
home
the
with
people
you.
that came to her restaurant the next day would feel that energy.
Little love
And
droppings.
they'll come back. Or they will share it with other people.
So when you know, you go to a specialist talking about manifestation, they're going to focus a lot on your ability to manifest those things from your heart and the inside, and
Yes.
making those credible and real first before they manifest out physically. So all of us are getting that opportunity to see the synchronistic connections when you go into a place and you're feeling pretty good, how you attract that love, good vibe to you. And
Like attracts like.
when you go into a place and you're feeling kind of funky, how you attract that funkiness to you as well. You know, that imbalanced energy or that I can't wait to get out of here energy. Isn't that true?
And so make your future bright and joyful. And the people around you will make their lives bright and beautiful.
And it won't look like exactly the same
Of course
thing,
not.
but that's why having your sensors on allows you to really feel where they're coming from.
Yep.
Like, I can feel your excitement about that. When someone says something, like, I can feel your excitement. I didn't do that, but I can feel your excitement.
And if you feel their excitement, you're going to get excited about something that you didn't realize.
Or I can feel your disappointment. You know, those things are all really great things. Do you have to go deep with them? No, but you can be
Good.
aware that it's not you.
Yeah.
I mean that's probably that on the
And
disappointing
it goes
side.
back to the fact that everything gives you an opportunity to make a choice.
That's like a great word. If we could like simplify our life to a couple of words. Embrace the opportunities, allow them.
Yep.
What else we got? Love yourself
Yep. And it's all a choice.
and choose.
It's not easy to make the choice.
No.
And that's going back to the idea of before you speak, take a moment to reconsider it.
Yeah, one of our little guests had that. She had about 3 or 4 things. Because sometimes I know I just like to hear myself talk. So turn the recorder on, Renata, and just talking to it.
Yes.
And then play it back so you can hear yourself talk. You're good. You know, and sometimes I have things that, you know, are really valuable to say. I get that, you know. But I used to have an over-dependence on being heard. So I start listening to myself. That's taking care of a lot of it. How often do all you listen to yourself and trust what yourself tells you? You know? We know nothing more about your life than you do. And you know nothing more about our life than we do. But that should be a really great baseline to trust that people will do the right thing.
So when people talk to me and ask for my intuition, I don't give them one answer. I give them a series of answers and then let them choose what they're going to do. And so a lot of people don't like to come to me for intuition because they want someone to come along and tell them what is the best, and no one knows what the best is. With the exception of yourself. You'll know the best.
True. And sometimes I get that, though, in terms of eliminating, you know, options. You check in with somebody and you're not real clear about making decisions, so you want some, you know, a stranger to kind of validate more so than confirm, because confirmation comes on the inside.
Yeah, and I say to people often, start at the bottom of the list and go up. Which are you going to do and which are you not going to do?
Right, because there's a few that you absolutely like, well, I'm not.
And so you start Xing them out.
Yes.
And then you suddenly say, there's one left. And that's one I know I can do.
I notice for me, and maybe a lot of you are like that, when I get my plate really full, because I kind of I get a lot of ideas and I can go deep with a lot of them rather quickly. So it's like, okay, pull it back, Renata. You know, pull it back. Which ones feel really good?
Yep.
And then there's, you know, 1 or 2 that just feels really juicy. And that's the one I put some more focus on.
Exactly.
And that's what I did yesterday. I spent the last couple days. You gave me the task of focusing and doing a couple of workshops or classes that I feel really good about that are solid for me. And so I'm like, oh, you have a lot of information, Renata. Oh my
Oh, yes,
God,
you do.
it's overwhelming. Can you organize? I started with the 1, and then by the end of the weekend, I have 5. Really solid, which I could share with me or somebody else. Here's a packet, you could teach this way. You know, I mean, so it's good information, I think, but it doesn't have to be just delivered by me. So thank you for that opportunity, actually.
But also, it gives you and others the opportunity to mine your wealth of knowledge.
It's true. You know, after 30 years or so of being a healing arts practitioner and then just doing my own inner work, there's a solid baseline to tap in. And so by you encouraging me to honor my value with that, because I've always been resistant of people don't follow my ass just because I said that. Don't follow me, because I don't follow anybody. I go figure it out and see if it feels true for me, and then I incorporate it into my life. I've always been that way. So I don't want other people to just do it because I say. So that's been my resistance. But now I recognize that that's a little bit, jaded.
Because if they don't hear your options, how are they going to know their options?
This is true, and that's kind of what's going on now. So the show and the Universal Life Alliance, if you have not gone to our webpage, it is theuniversallifealliance.org. And Max, thank you. Just put that across the screen. theuniversallifealliance.org. We generally post the things that we talk about on, on those pages. And you can have access to a session with William or me. We'll be inviting other practitioners on as the Alliance grows stronger. And that's part that I'm excited about, because you, in the inception of the Alliance 42 years, it's amazing, 40-something years ago, you had mapped out an internship program for people that wanted to be ordained, and you wanted them to have a certain level of knowledge. And so you had put down some of the suggested ideas, and so I'm excited about participating in that when we get that going. It's a little ways, but still, it's coming. It's coming.
And each day, everything gets closer. Mm-hmm. The thing for you, us, is to always make sure that we don't limit ourselves with expectation.
Ooh, expectation.
It's coming too slow. I better change into something else. Mm-hmm. Or I've worked hard to get here, but now I need something new to work on. It's escapism.
It's escapism. It can be.
Can be.
And in the year of the 5, this is the 5 year, and today actually is a 555. So it's an interesting day for lots of changes and transitions. Spit out my mouth. Sorry. Lots of change and transition. So allowing yourself to transition and change. It's to morph. Allow yourself to morph, like the butterfly.
So, we're just about ready to close.
We are.
Remember, celebrate your mother, if you wish to, and celebrate the right for mothers all over the world to be honored and appreciated.
And even if your mother is a father.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of
to do with gender.
There's a lot of same-sex couples that have adopted children, So right. So honoring the mothering, the nurturing, the strength, and I'm going to close with the mermaid lady. A lot of us, that mermaid is shifting magic. Salacia, I think I said that right. And she is the idea of changing the mundane to the sublime. That's like what the mermaid represents to me.
Good.
Yeah. So let's all go turn the mundane to the fabulousness on this Mother's Day that's coming up. And Cinco de Mayo. Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Max, if we were to say, I'm going to say Auf Wiedersehen, but how would we say goodbye if we say it in Spanish? I don't know how to say it in Spanish.
Adios.
Oh, just adios?
Oh, adios.
Just adios? Okay, adios.
Okay.